What is up, everyone? Look who I have here tonight. My boy, my brother from a different mother, twin. How you doing, sir?
Hey man, what it do? Happy New Year to you and all those that are watching, man. Thank you for having me on. I'm definitely excited, man, to be joining you this year. You know what I'm saying? It's been a year since I seen you.
Yes. It's been a long time. We're going to get into it. I'm going to go ahead and start acknowledging the chat. Let everybody, all the VIPs in the chat, give you the love you deserve right after this. All right. Ooh, always goes to that one. Welcome back. Let's go ahead and acknowledge everyone in the chat real quick. We got Don. We got royalty in the house. What's up, Don? Welcome. We got Jimmy Perez in the house. What's up, Jimmy? Let's see here. We got Roberto Davis in the house. Welcome. How you doing, sir? Who else we got in here before I start reading the comments? We got my girl royalty in the house, Melissa. Can't stay, just wanted to send some love to y'all, Beto, and have some fun. You're the bomb. I appreciate the love, little sis. You're an amazing individual. We got Niner Eddie in the house. What's up, Niner Eddie? Welcome, brother. Let's see who else we got. We got Daniel Cantu in the house. What's up? Welcome. We got Luis Moreno in the house. What's up, Luis? And we'll start acknowledging those as you pop in. So, twin, we won week 17. It kind of looked a little bit scary there, a little bit. It seemed like the Niners were coming off that emotional loss to the Ravens on a Monday night, Christmas Day, and played a short week, had to go cross country to different time zone to face on the Commanders. And the Commanders are not a good team, but it's the NFL. It's not NBA. It's not baseball where you have a couple of games to play. It's who plays best on that given game. And sometimes I seen good teams get beat. Look at perfect example. Look at our friends, the Eagles. They lost at home against the Cardinals, the 3-win team Cardinals, now 4. So we went into Washington. We battled it out. We started a little slow, but the Niners begin to flex their muscles, show who they are, and that they belong, and they handle their business. I want to ask you, my friend, that first quarter, what were you feeling, man, watching that game?
Man, honestly, I was just watching and a little bit surprised once again. You know, what had happened was I'm looking and seems like how as of late been coming out first quarter, throwing the ball a lot, not necessarily getting to the run. It seemed like it's been his go-to the last 4 games. It's very pass-centric, you know. I bet you if somebody do the numbers as far as the first 3 to 4 series, it's probably 65% pass, you know what I mean? And especially on first down. So like any good team or defensive coordinator for the opposing team, they started to learn your tendencies when you're no longer are rushing the ball on first down. So they started to get a little, they understanding what we're trying to do. And I was like, oh man, here we go again, starting off slow, being kind of predictable as far as not necessarily establishing the run, even though we have the National Football leading rusher, as our running back. But at the same time, it's like I have to woo-saw myself because Kyle sometimes can make your boy heart, beat a little fast. You know what I'm saying? I get a little nervous, when Kyle does something like that. And about the while, the defense was doing certain things that I didn't like either, far as missing tackles. But what I'm learning is that this is the habit of the 49ers in the first half. They miss tackles. They depend heavily on their run, and they have stupid penalties here and there. So eventually, I had to calm down because I ain't gonna lie to you, I was just a little ticked off because it was such a nasty first quarter showing after a big loss against the Ravens. And so my expectation was for them guys to come out here and show the people in the National Football League what you saw on last Monday night is not who we are. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna come out here and show you guys that was a mirage and this is the real Niners, you know? So, but that didn't necessarily happen. And eventually we started getting things rolling and start to actually show people who we really are.
Absolutely, you're 100% correct. They started to, like I said, flex their muscles. That you made actually when you were talking right now, I took a little nugget about you mentioned about the missed tackles on our defense, and that's kind of been something that the Niners defense has been dealing with this year. Even from the beginning, it started to the ugly of the missed tackles starting to show up late in the game, and especially in those three losing games. And it seemed to me like once we went to the bye in the regular season, they had an opportunity to kind of regroup, rest, figure stuff up. The defense rested and was able to come back out and dominate with their tackling. But then towards the end, again, you start seeing those missed tackles pop up. The ugly, that monster's head, popping up. And I say all that to say this: how important is this bye that we got for the Niners coming this playoffs, where they can rest that defense and allow that defense to kind of recover and recuperate so they can be ready for the playoffs?
I think it's very important. We saw what happened. We won the first 5 games of the season, and then we hit a lull where we lost 3 games in a row. But then after we had the bye, and then we got back and won, I believe, 5 to 6 games in a row. So to me, we're starting to see a pattern. You see what I'm saying? The pattern is
sorry, hit
good
the
game,
wrong button.
good game.
Oh, which one I hit? Sorry about that.
You Gucci.
Goodness.
Hey.
All right. Apologies, everyone. My fingers, I got to make sure my fingers don't walk. I got so many buttons over here trying to do my own stuff over here. I hit the wrong button. My mistake, bro. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead, my friend.
Look, you're good. You're good. We're starting to see that pattern where we do good, then actually for 5 games or 6 games, and then we have this lull, and so eventually it catches up to you. So I think that break is coming in right at that point where we play hard, we play fast. We are very top heavy. I like to call our team, we're like the mid 90s Pamela Anderson. You know what I'm saying? Very top heavy. You know what I mean?
I like it.
And so we don't got, but we don't have a lot below. You know what I mean? We don't have a lot below. So once those things kind of wear out, we begin to mess up on our fundamentals and in the details as far as our technique. But once we get a time to rest, relax, and regroup a little bit, because we do have kind of older players, if we've been honest with one another, whereas it's Armstead, he's out. Javon Hartgrave, an older player, even Mooney Ward, he's not the old player, but he has miles because he's played ever since he's been in the league. Playoffs, AFC Championship game has been there with him every year that he's played in the National Football League. Fred Warner, he hasn't missed a game, I believe, in his entire career, so that's a lot of miles on him. So these are the things that we don't necessarily talk about at times, but at the end of the day, they play a physical brand of football, and eventually you get tired. So I think this will do us very, very, very well because we play deep into the playoffs the last several years. Having that rest, the opportunity to regroup, get your mind right, focus on the little small details will prepare us for this postseason run where we're trying to make it all the way to the Super Bowl, baby.
I love it. I love it. Now, on that note, and you made some very, very valid points there, Twin. We're going into Week 18 against the Rams to close out the season. NFC West team that not all of us don't like. We beat everybody else. This will be an opportunity to close out 2023 season with sweeping the division once again for the second year in a row. My question is, how important is that? I know it's important for fans to kind of take care of the Rams and beat the Rams and, we beat them twice and we swept them and all that good stuff. But as an organization, talking about what you just said about all the miles on Fred Warner, all the miles on these players, they get the opportunity not only to rest 1 week, but initially rest two. Now, some people get afraid about rust and this and that. I've never been a big fan of that because you do practice in between. It's not like they're going to Maui somewhere and relaxing and drinking some margaritas. They're actually practice each week. So, are you one that believes that Kyle should rest those that need rest in this game, and regardless of whether we sweep the Rams or not? Or do you think that the Niners should play their starters to kind of keep him in that groove going into the playoffs?
I'm of the belief of taking care of business early on. So if you take care of business early on in the game, later on you don't have to worry about playing these guys. You can cut down on the snaps. And so play them at least 35, 40 snaps. Hey guys, let's go take care of business. We're not trying to go out here for a long time. We want to be out here for a short time, go grind, get it over with, so you can sit on the pine in the third and fourth quarter. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to have you guys out there and I mean, injuries happen, but that's not our goal to be out here and try to make this game last as long as it needs to be, because at the same time, McVay is on the other end thinking the same thing. Like, hey, man, we've been playing good at the end of this year, but at the same time, I want these guys to be well rested too, so we can try to make a playoff run as well. So this is a situation where I feel like both teams are kind of on the same path or the same mindset of, I want my guys go out there, and we like to call it in sports when I play basketball and football, go get a good lather. You
Mm,
lather up, you know what I mean? Make sure the muscles go out there, you get the blood pumping. You want some of that lactic acid to move and flow throughout your body. And then after that happens, you can come over here and sit next to me, and we can become spectators of the sport and become fans and just watch. You see what I'm saying? And so that's what
absolutely.
I believe that the 49ers will probably be thinking in the back of their minds alongside with McVay as well.
I love it. I love it, and you're absolutely right. I know now one of our starters will be sitting out. That is CMC, as we all know. In the game against Washington, he had a little bit of a calf issue, strain they call it. He seemed to be fine. I think it was more on the precautionary side. They didn't want to keep pushing him, but I love what I saw in Elijah Mitchell and Jordan Mason, but mostly Elijah Mitchell coming in there, juking. Elijah Mitchell to me has always been a running back that I've always seen that he needs to get into his groove. It's hard for him just to come in and hit the hole and expect him to do great things. He kind of needs to feel the game, needs to feel him how things are going, and you got to give him time to develop that. And things develop to him, and he starts to play better. Now that they're going to be resting CMC, which he needs, if anybody needs to rest, is definitely that young man. How important is this game for that precise groove for Elijah Mitchell and Jordan Mason going into the playoffs?
Um, well, before I get the answer, if you don't mind, could you log me in on the other restream? But I do believe that Jordan Mason, not Jordan, yeah, Jordan
Let me
Mason
see.
and Elijah Mitchell are essential when it comes to us building some type of depth in the running back room, mainly because, hey, we all love Christian McCaffrey, man. We know that this guy is a Swiss Army knife. This guy he can do everything out there on the field. He has given us everything that he had throughout this whole year, man. He's been healthy. He's been a breath of fresh air. I know last year once we got him, we were extremely excited, but now this year we've had him over a period of time. We were like, man, this guy can do everything for his team, and so I can't wait to have Jordan Mason and Elijah Mitchell going out there and running this game just so Kyle can see that these guys have the capabilities to go out there and be extremely productive. So I'm I think man, I think Elijah Mitchell, like you said earlier, man, he's one of those running backs like you just mentioned about Emmitt Smith. People fail to realize that back in the day when Emmitt Smith used to run, he wasn't a big gainer. Emmitt Smith was a person who churned his feet. If you hit him for a 2 yard run, he go sit here and grind out another 2.5 yards. And that's what I told people 2 years ago or 3 years ago about Elijah Mitchell. You may hit him at the 2, like he may get a 2 yard gain, but he's gonna turn them legs and end up getting an extra 2.5 yards. So then next thing you know, it's 2nd and 6 instead of 2nd and 8. And that's one of the things I love about Elijah Mitchell. But he needed time to kind of find the ebbs and the flow of the game, or how or how the offensive line was kind of moving with him. And once he got in that groove and found that pocket, I think running the ball is similar to like a dance or like a musician. You got to find that right beat, you know what I mean? And once Elijah Mitchell finds that beat, man, he's a wonderful and a hell of a runner, whether it's an inside, outside, and whatever it is that you may need to do, man, he can do it all. So I think Kyle would be extremely excited, and it will build that trust in Elijah Mitchell, because he hadn't seen a lot of him to go out there and be productive as a running back for the 49ers come this playoff run.
Absolutely. And real quick, just for those viewing, give us a second. Now, I read your comments about logging in. What precisely do you mean, like log you in? Restream belongs to my friend. I use it when I have guests, but I use Ecamm, so I'm not really familiar with the Restream as much.
Well, you good. It was just saying waiting on hosts on the Restream side.
Did it
It just
really?
had waiting on.
It's weird that it says waiting because we're live. Oh, yeah. Maybe because I'm entwining Restream with my stream, which is Ecamm. I don't know if you ever heard Ecamm. Usually when I send out the link, there would that is weird. Brandon,
It's all good. Well, we can keep cooking with hot grease. It's all good.
I apologize for that. Brandon, it's actually my boy's Brandon's thing. He allows me to use it so when I have guests, if they want to put their channel, that's one thing Ecamm doesn't provide, and it's kind of embarrassing, to be honest. But it allows me to do all the things that I like to do on my own, like my background. I can do a bunch of things on my own, which I love Ecamm for. There's not plates like Restream or other ones. You gotta use what they give you. Here I can do everything on my own, which I like, but they don't offer that. So my apologies for that.
No, you good.
That means that all that means, bro, is that you're gonna have to come back on and another time with me again, so we can get it corrected, bro. Everybody's loving you in the chat, bro. So we're gonna take a little bit of break of the Niners, and I want to ask you. I said this before we went live. I wanted my viewers to get to know you. Some of them do know you. Some of them have watched your channel. He does have his own channel, which we have in the link so that you can go to his channel. Please subscribe and make sure to support him. But let's get to know you a little bit, Twin. There's a reason why you have Twin as your name and your profile. Many people may not know. Now, when they figure out that person's team, hopefully they're still in the chat, but give us a reason why there's that word twin in your name.
All right. So I think even you might be a little surprised after this one, to be honest with you. So this is a theory that many people believe, and then they find out it's kind of incorrect, right? So I'm gonna put you on game, right? So my name is Twin Empire, and we all know that the 49ers are the empire. You know what I'm saying? We are greater than the nation. We are the empire. You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of people don't understand the empire, but I would definitely tell them we are greater than the nation. And so if you don't know, I have a brother by the name of Law Nation Sports. He's a Cowboy fan, and so most people think that we are twins. Because if you look at me and look at him, he's fully beard and same complected. I mean, we came from the same womb and we shared the same room as well. And so he's my brother, and he's a diehard Dallas Cowboy fan, and I'm not playing. He is a diehard Dallas Cowboy fan. And so I'm rolling with the red. He's rolling with the blue. I know that gold is so much better than silver as well. And so
Come on.
I've been rolling with the red and gold, and he's been rolling with silver and blue. And this has been a sibling or what they call it, a brotherly rival, you know what I mean, since the day that I was born. So that's one thing that me being, twin empire. And also I have a set of twins as well. I have a set
Okay.
I have a girl and a boy. They're twins. You know what I mean? So that's part of my empire. And then if you look at my old Twitter name, aka used to be, the ex. Now I have another set of twins as well. I have a girl set of twins. And so I have one set of twins that are a girl and a boy, and another set of twins that are two girls. And so another reason for the twin. So on my old Twitter, I was twin maker, and so people were like, what in the world? So that is why I call myself the
Booyah!
twin maker,
I
because I
love it.
only make twins. It is literally and figuratively the truth. So that's a little thing about myself, man. I am probably one of the rare people that you may have met in life to only have twins, and that's it. A lot of people who have two sets of twins may have a singleton, which is one baby, but I have only twins, and so I am the twin maker.
I love it, bro. You're talking. I'm thinking of a Samuel L. Jackson with a 357. Bro, you ain't messing around. The
Hey, listen
twins,
here.
hey, boy,
I got that
congrats.
357, man. I got that Mossberry pump. I shoot two shit. I shoot one shot, two bullets, my God. That's how I go.
Booyah!
That's what I'm talking about. You are just level up going on. Hey, bro, it's making kids is not easy as it's although it's fun, but it's not easy. But then when you throw in some twins in there, not only one set but two sets.
Yes,
Wow,
sir.
bro. I have a friend of mine that can kind of compete with you a little bit with the twins. He has two sets of twins too. So if you hit, he's a little bit younger than you. So I mean older than you. So you might be able to hit that third set of twins maybe and take the championship belt. But man, I have one friend that has he has regular, just other, not just twins. Now you might be winning because all you have is twins. He has two sets of twins and then three kids that are not twins. I mean, he went from having no kids to like the Brady Bunch, like that. You know what I mean? He's like,
Yes, sir.
he's a big Samoan dude, man. I love my brother, and I'm like, he's keeping that Samoan culture going. I'm like, my goodness, I love him. Shout out to my boy. But yeah, man. So you got twins. So okay, so we talked about your brother being a Dallas, and yes, when Twin says he's a Dallas fanatic, which he should be. Obviously, we get whether we like the team or not here in this chat. It is a team, and there are fans that do root for the Cowboys, just like we root for the Niners. And I can guarantee you, a lot of Cowboy fans are wondering why we're rooting for the Niners, as we sometimes think about the Cowboys. It is the NFL. We love rivalries. We love to talk smack, but at the end of the day, fans do love their team. And your brother, not only is he repping his Cowboys, but he has a following. I seen that YouTube plaque behind him, and I'm like, you have arrived when you got that bad boy behind you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. And I'll tell you guys. So my brother, man, for those who do not know, man, he's the older brother, and he not only is he a Dallas Cowboy fan, he's actually one of the pioneers. I'm not just saying this just because he's my brother. I'm being honest with you guys. I'm gonna keep it a bean. I'm gonna keep it a buck. He's a pioneer when it comes to the content creator. When fans begins to use YouTube as an instrument to share their love and
Mm.
their passion for creating content that we see today. So before the explosion of all the content creators, man, my brother, if you look back in 2016, he started his YouTube channel, man. And right now, he's probably a couple followers away from 120,000 YouTube followers, and not to mention all the individuals on the Instagram, Facebook, and other social media platforms, man. So it's just been amazing to see this guy grind and create that platform, man, and to know that something. I'm from the country, man. For those that do, for if y'all don't know, I'm from Mississippi, a small town in Mississippi, and I live out in the country, Mississippi. I grew up with horses and things of that nature, man. And we grew up in the point in time where we only had about 5 channels, and what we used to do on Sunday and Monday night, man, is go out there and we watch Monday night football and Sunday night football on Sunday, like on Sunday and Monday. That's what we did together as a family, and that's where the love of the sport began. And so, unfortunately, man, that guy chose the Cowboys, and ever since then, he's been rooting for them guys, and we've been going back and forth, creating this type of rivalry and this type of as people say, this first take debate since we were young. You know what I mean? And it's just been so cool to see him take his passion and turn it into like, I mean, I'm so proud of him, man. And for those who do not know this, me and my brother, we lost our mother this August. And you was talking about their YouTube plaque, man. And before my mom passed away in August, it was around June. Her birthday is in June, but in May, my brother hit 100,000. You know, and that was the one thing that he wanted to do before my mother passed away.
Mm.
He said, "Mama, I want you to see that your boy is going to make it. I'm going to make 100,000 subscribers." You know, and he wanted her to see that. And my brother had quit it and tried to quit several times in YouTube in 2017 because of, you know, you have a wonderful following yourself. So, you know, it's small things that YouTube would try to ban you from, kick you out, turn your page away. And at 10,000 followers, man, YouTube did something to him, made him shut down his whole channel, and he was getting ready to give up. And one of my brother quotes is, one way or another, I'm going to get through, I'm going to grind, and I'm going to
Come on.
shine. And my mother told him that because he was getting ready to give up, because he felt like he made this wonderful climb to get to 10,000 followers, and then it took him away. And my mom called that young man and was like, "Baby, don't give up. You know, keep going." You know what I mean? And she was cheering that man on when there was nobody around. And so when he got to that 100,000 followers, he dedicated to my mother, who's now resting up there in heaven, man, after a 3-year battle of cancer. But he
Mm.
made sure that that woman saw all that hard work that she put inside of him. He made sure he put inside of that baby, which he called his YouTube channel now, which is Law Nation Sports, which has now grown into a young adult. You know what I'm saying? And so I just want to give him, you know, salute, because he's my big brother. I'm so proud of everything that he's done, the hard work that he has put in, man. And I'm proud of him, not because he's my brother, but just even as a man, to see what he has become and the way that he do it, where he's so inviting, man, so loving, and he gives back to the community at all times. And so I just want to salute to him. And if you guys have the opportunity to go out there and check out his channel, man, just as a fan of football, he's going to give you good content. He's respectable, and he overall, he's just a good man and a better brother. So I know that was kind of long, but I just had to give my
No,
boy
no,
some
not at
love,
all,
man,
bro.
because
Not at all.
yeah, I love that guy. You know what I'm saying? So there it is, you know.
Absolutely. You're the guest on the channel, bro. You speak as much as you want, brother, here. I appreciate. First, I just want to say my condolences for the loss of your mom. I know that feeling. I lost my mom in the North Tower when it went down in 2001. She was in the military, and she went down. And so I know that feeling of losing. We never recovered her body, unfortunately, but a loss is a loss, man. And losing your battle to cancer. My niece she's just dealt with breast cancer. She just rang the bell. Hopefully, it stays away. So cancer, someone we know, or someone we know personally, or someone we know that knows someone deals with that ugly disease, cancer. Hopefully, we'll be able to figure out how to beat it instead of it beating us, man. So my condolences first and foremost for your mom. I want to share something with you. Hope you don't get mad, but I didn't meet your brother. Not that I know him personally, which I don't. But let me rephrase it. I did not follow your brother because of you. I've been following him before I even met you. And this is why I say I'm the type of person that anybody that knows me, I'm old school. I'm 53. I've been watching for Niner football since '77. I love football. I love my Niners, obviously, first and foremost, tattooed. But I love football within itself. And I'm the type of person that I'm not a big trash talker. I rather learn about my enemy, what they're doing good, what they're not doing good. So I like to follow certain content creators of every team so that I can kind of get an idea how their team is doing from their perspective. But I want someone that it's not biased, someone that is not sitting there rah, rah, rah about my team, I want someone that is sincere and talks truth about their team. And I found that in your brother. And so he was, for the Dallas Cowboys, he's the one that I started to follow about 2 years ago, and just watch him. And so when I met you, I think I met you through Peter, or I met you through, I know I met you through someone. And then you told me you had a brother that was a Cowboys fan that had a show. And then I found out, I looked at his picture and I looked at you. I'm like, And then I found out that was your brother. I'm like, oh wow, what a kind of small world in a sense. But yeah, I've been
Hmm.
following. So I've been rooting for your brother a little bit longer than you. So I apologize for that. But
No,
I just want
hey.
to. I say that because I really respect your brother. I give him love. Not all babies are handed from the doctor to the nurse. Some babies get dropped, and they pick the Cowboys. What can we say? But he seems like he's a one hell of a dude. I was
Hmm.
watching you guys' show the other day, and the love you guys have for one another. I know we all have brothers, we all love our brothers, but the respect that you guys have for each other. I didn't see, you guys throw your little jabs in there, which I love, but I didn't. It wasn't about him putting the Niners down. It wasn't about you putting the Cowboys down. It was about just having a great show with the person you love, your brother, and
Hmm.
and I saw something real between you two, man. And I just want to give kudos to the both of you and to your brother. Again, don't like the Cowboys. I want him to lose, but
Yeah.
but your brother's a one heck of a guy, and having all those followers, he's doing something right. And I'm glad he didn't give up. And don't you gotta love mothers that
Yeah.
push their kids when the kids want to give up? And I'm glad he listened. I'm glad he stuck with it. I'm pretty sure it wasn't easy. I don't have nowhere near where he's at, but I do have a friend that started a Christian channel, and he's over he has like 400,000 or 400. I don't know how to even say it, but he has like four of those placards, and I always talk to him, hey, how do you? And he's talk about YouTube hitting you. YouTube is, you would think YouTube would support you, but they don't. And those that are not in content creation with YouTube don't realize it. Once you start hitting 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, in that mark, everybody wants to hit the 10,000 mark. That's kind of like you made it, and then you got to build from there.
Hmm.
But YouTube doesn't make it easy. So congrats to your brother, man. His Dallas Cowboys are in the playoffs. It's just a matter of whether they sit at number two and play at home, which they have been playing very well at home. I believe they're 16 in a row win at home. So
Yep.
if there's a team, I know that home field advantage, it's good for a lot of teams, but if there's a team that really needs to really take heed to that home field, is the Dallas Cowboys if they want to make it to the NFC Championship game and go from there. Now, let me ask you, the Washington Commanders are trash. Sorry if there's any fans in here, but they are. They're playing like trash.
Yeah.
The Cowboys do struggle on the road. I don't know if, regardless how bad the Cowboys struggles on the road or not, I just don't see the Cowboys losing to the Commanders. But imagine if they lost to the Commanders and the Eagles win. Well, I mean, I just want to get a perspective of your brother. How would your brother respond knowing him if that would happen? Something crazy like that. Because none of us thought the Eagles were going to lose, and it happened.
True, true. Yeah. I think because of early on season when the Cardinals beat them, you can't I think the cock well, I ain't say cockiness, but the belief that none of these teams that aren't necessarily that good on paper, that idea of them being invincible is now out the window. They have been broken before. And so there is probably be a bit of humility in him now that even if they were to lose, he'll maybe spin it and make it a way to say, like, hey, this might be good for us, so we can know that we need to be serious and take these things, like take these games. We can't take these games for granted. He'll try to flip it, or 9 out of 10, if I'm being honest, if the referee do something crazy or like things aren't being called, that'll be the first thing he'll talk about, with the referees, or he always wants to say the zebras did this, or Mike McCarthy did this, and so on and so forth. So he'll make up a good excuse, if I'm being honest with you, about why the Dallas Cowboys loses a game. You know what I mean? And so I love that part where they always try to find something, to blame besides themselves. And so I would love to see it happen. You know what I mean? But they probably should go out there and be victorious against the Washington Commanders.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They have bigger issues than if they lose to that team, even though they do struggle on the road. They do have they would have different issues, but I don't see it. The Cowboys defense is the real deal. What they're doing in that secondary, number 6 out there, and no, Bland. What number
Yeah,
is Bland?
Deron Bland. They got
I
there was George Lewis. I think who you was talking about, the
yeah
guy who caught the interception last
yeah
week. Yeah, they have Lawrence and Micah, and they have a squad. You know what I mean? And like you said, I just hearing you discuss your love for football. One thing I appreciate is a fan that's objective. I know a lot of times I see on social media, it's like homer, 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 homer.
yeah.
For you to talk about another team is as if you don't respect and love your team. It's like, bro, I love football. Now I'm a Niner fan, but the sport of football created me to become a Niner fan. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And so I watch these other teams, like you said, in division and seeing what they're doing and so on and so forth. Because at the end of the day, I want my team to not only win the Super Bowl, but I like to discuss how is it that we can beat this team? What are their weaknesses? What are their strengths? You know what I mean? And like you said, the
absolutely.
enemy of my enemy is my friend. And so my brother is right next to me. I'm over here looking at him discuss the weaknesses of his team. I'm learning, like, okay, is this a strength of ours or is this a weakness of ours? You see what I'm saying? Are they adapting from last year and growing as a team? And so I love it when somebody is willing to dig in between the weeds and pull up some things to get a clear picture. So certain things can grow. And that's why I say I respect hearing you talking about the Cowboys in the way that you did, or probably other teams that we could actually face later on in playoffs. And so, man, respect to you of being an objective fan, and looking into the enemies and see what they be doing well or bad as too.
Absolutely. I just real quick. I just want to welcome my boy, Mister NYCE 1030 in the house. What's up, brother? We got David McNiner, Christian Carver in the house popping in. You guys are the true MVP of the chat. I love football. Like I said, I love football. Always have. I love to study it. I like to break down film. I like to just when I have a conversation with another fan. I've learned so much when I take out the soft pride of my team's the only good team. It doesn't mean I root for those teams, but I like it's funny when people start Cowboy fans or Seahawk fans or any team, they want to cap right and
Mm.
talk about my team, and then we find out that I actually know more about his own team than they do. I know
Uh-huh.
history about their team than they do. And I'm like, and the reason, and I tell them not to humiliate it, but I tell them the reason why I know more about your team than you do is because you spend most of your time trying to cap on other people instead of feeding yourself with knowledge of history of your own team, where they come from. I had a Rams fan that said, we're the team that's always been in LA. I said, no, you came from Cleveland. And they're like,
Uh-huh.
no, we didn't. I'm like, yes, you did. And we argued, and then he looked it up and he realized, oh crap. And I'm like, you got to know, your team if you're going to cap, because if somebody knows more about your team, that's an embarrassment to me. So I do cap here and there. What's up, Jason? I see you. And Dustin, I see you, brother. I like to cap, and I like to, my Niners this, my Niners. I love that. But like I was telling you before we went on air, one of my favorite running backs is Emmett Smith. Barry
Mm-hmm.
Sanders play for the Lions.
Yeah.
I love different receivers. Michael Irvin. I like his loudness. He's crazy. He loves his team, but
Yeah.
I just love his style. You know what I mean? And his
Mm-hmm.
play. He backed it up. And so I love different individuals, and I've been given a lot of crap about it. Like, you're not a real Niner fan because you're rooting for that team. I go, whoa, 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 whoa. Knowing about a team and giving them credit and props for what they're doing doesn't mean I'm rooting for them. Like I told you earlier, the Rams that we don't like because they're in a division, but what McVay is doing with a young team, a bunch of rookies,
Mm-hmm.
it's incredible what McVay is doing. And I mentioned to someone about he should win Coach of the Year, and they're like, "What?" And I'm like, just because I love Kyle, and just
Yeah.
because I'm a Niner fan doesn't make my coach the best coach and should win everything just because he's my coach. I look at
Yeah.
other coaches, I look at other players. Do I root for the Rams? Hell no. Do I want them to
Yeah.
lose at their first game in the playoffs? Absolutely. Get blown out. But it doesn't stop me from acknowledging that Nuka, the receiver,
Yeah.
Puka,
Puka Nacua.
Nakua, yeah, sorry if I butchered his name.
Mm-hmm.
Carry on Williams, the running back they hit.
Ooh.
They have
Yeah.
that young kid Turner on defense. They got some players that hit, and I like to acknowledge that. And some Niner fans kind of getting a little bad at me because they feel that I'm giving too much credit to the enemy. But like you said, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. You got to
Mm-hmm.
know about other. You got to know about the weaknesses. That's why when people tell me, "Are you nervous about this game that we're playing?" Whatever, I'm like, "Have you looked at the other team? Do you know what they're good at and what they're bad at? How they match up with our team? Because if
Mm-hmm.
you knew how they match up with our team, you wouldn't be as nervous. You
Yeah.
you wouldn't be as scared because you're like, you know what, we're better in this area. They're not." And you start looking at that, and then you're more confident in the game. So when people ask me if I'm nervous, I tend to, I don't say nothing to out of disrespect, but I tend to believe that they don't know as much
Mm-hmm.
about the tape. That's why they're nervous. They want to know from me, like, and it's like, it's all about matchups. Anybody that knows
Yeah.
football, it's all about matchups in a game. And it's not who the best team is, it's who plays the best game in that game. We all know that the Niners, and again, if I sound like a homer, so be it, but I'm not. The Niners, when healthy, are a better team than the Ravens.
Yeah. Yep.
But who played a better game?
The
The
Ravens did.
Ravens. Who won? The Ravens.
The Ravens.
So again, to my point, the Niners were the better team going in, but the Ravens played the better game. Now for the Ravens, it seems like they kind of won their Super Bowl a little too prematurely
Mm-hmm.
in that game. And the Niners, sometimes I don't know about you, Twin, but sometimes I think good teams need a little bit of a slap in the face to kind of
Mm-hmm.
wake them up again because a lot of times they start feeling themselves. We're invincible. Nobody can beat us. And when they get beat down, I don't know if you remember the 1994 Super Bowl run when the Eagles put 48 or 40 something plus points on us. Even
Mm-hmm.
Steve Young was pulled out by Seifert, and he was over there yelling at Seifert. They never lost a game after that. They were all
Yeah.
the way to the Super Bowl and won it. Why? Because they were a good team, feeling themselves a little bit, got embarrassed, woke up, and tore it up. I think this is something that I believe the Niners are taking as well. They got embarrassed, they
Mm-hmm.
played bad, and I think they're going to correct it. And having these so-called 2-week bye, whether they rest the players or play them initially for a series or not, whatever they seem to do, it'll be beneficial for the Niners going forward.
Yeah, man, you gotta have humble pie, and sometimes you gotta eat a whole pie, not just a
Yeah,
slice.
come on.
And and that's what, like, even with the Ravens, man, like, again, me being a lover of football, that defense and just the culture of that team was there, but way before Lamar got there. There's certain things that's interwoven in that doggone locker room. You know what I mean? It's the heart and the legacy of a Ray Lewis and what it was that he put in that Ravens, or in that organization. You know what I mean? And so you got a coach like the Harbaugh brother who has won the Super Bowl. You have to respect that. You know what I mean? And I do. I
Hmm.
watch that team from afar. And I'm the guy who look at the Ravens done. And again, this is no knock on my team, but I see what Lamar Jackson has had as a quarterback over the last 5 years. My guy, I mean, he had Hollywood Brown, and he was more like Tubi Brown, like a,
Yep.
you know what I mean? He wasn't a really good wide receiver. He had multiple guys get injured and running backs. His top wide receiver and Mark Andrews have gotten hurt. They've been a team that's been plagued with injuries. And I know people say they don't, like 49ers fans say, well, I don't want to hear that. I'm like, we're the same team who went through injuries in 2020.
Yeah.
You know, like, how can we not hear that and not understand what it means to lose key guys because we went through it? So don't all of a sudden make it seem like, oh, that's nothing. It's just like, no, when you have key guys getting injured, it's going to be hard for any quarterback to go out there and be successful. You know what I mean? And so I respect that organization to go through a person where I can sit here and say, hey, man, they got a rookie wide receiver, another wide receiver who had last 3 years had 2 knee surgeries, and another guy in Bateman who's been injured his whole career as a top 2 second round draft pick. And so to have that team come together in 1 year, lose their number 1 running back, lose their number 1 tight end, and trying to get these young guys acclimated to a new offense that they're running, I have to respect what they have done and what they put on film and say, hey, man, I love our team, but believe me, as talent wise on defense, them boys got some dogs. They might not have the name that our guys have, but they got some talent out there, and they got a wonderful defensive coordinator out there coaching them guys up. So, man, I love looking at these teams and seeing how they're growing, and then putting our team against them guys, seeing what can we do to either stay even kill with them or go out there and beat them. And that's when coaching comes into play, as far as knowing what is Kyle X's and O's, and then also how is it that Kyle lead the guys into a game. And so that's how I be thinking when I look at some of these other teams, because I assess them the same way, as far as looking at the Rams. And I heard a lot of 49ers fans say this 2 years ago. Oh, they bought their Super Bowl ring. They used to say, would you rather just have one Super Bowl ring and be bad for 10 years? And I say, wait a minute, quit being disrespectful to the guys on Sean McVay. He was just in the Super Bowl in 2017 or 16 or something like that, and transformed a whole nother team, went to the Super Bowl and won, got rid of all his other players, and now he done rebuilt in less than a year. You know what I mean? He done rebuilt less than a whole year, and people thought they was going to be sorry for the next 5 years. And so you got to respect that organization and his ability to coach and build these people up. So again, I just want to give these other teams. I'm not rooting for them, like you said, but I do understand good coaching when I see it. And so that's all I want to say about that right there.
Absolutely. And when you were saying earlier about when you're talking about fans about injuries of other teams, they're like, I don't want to hear that. And that right there tells me that their desire to get knowledge of football right there. They're stuck on their team. All I want to talk about my team. I love my Niners. I'm always talking about my Niners, but I want to know about other teams. There's not just Niner players that are in the Hall of Fame. There's dozens and dozens of different Hall of Famers from the 40s, 30s that I can sit there and learn about, that I can go, wow, I wish I was able to watch that player play. Like a lot of people, I watched Montana before he was drafted. When he came to the Niners, Bill Walsh, before he was the head coach of the Niners, I was a fan. So I got to see the process. I got to see the way that he was developed, who he was before, and what he was during, and what he became after his career in the NFL with the Niners, and then finished it with Kansas City. I got the true blessing to see that, and people get upset because you talk a little bit more about like if I say McVay's coaching better. I'm not saying this. I'm using this as an illustration example only. If I say McVay's coaching better than Kyle this year, right away they turn around and turn it into, Beto likes McVay. He should be a Rams fan. I don't know what you're doing being a Niner fan. I see what I see. My eyes don't lie to me. Does it mean that Kyle's not a better coach overall? No. I'm talking about the year. I break everything through seasons. Who's doing what in the season that we're in? If we're talking about just the season, if we want to get into breakdown to history and breakdown, that's a whole different conversation. But it's okay to understand and acknowledge other players and coaches, even if you don't like the team they're particularly playing or coaching for. As a student of football, I love college football. I just love to watch football. And you can have great conversations with other fans when you talk about football than you try to do when you're capping. When you're trying to cap or you're trying to, trash talk, it's like it can only go so far, bro. Your team this, your team that, your team this. And it's like, okay, why is your team this? Why is your team that? Well, they just are. And I'm like, okay, more power to you. I see you guys popping in. Bebop in the house. Tommy Huxley in the house. I see you popping in. Bebop. Make sure, real quick, we're going to take a quick intermission. We're going to allow my brother twin. The link is in the description. But how could people follow you? What you're going on your channel, and make sure you get these guys over there to subscribe to your channel.
For sure. Well, first and foremost, man, big ups to everybody in the chat, man. Happy New Year's to you guys. If I don't know you, I will introduce myself. I'm Twin Empire, man. Nice to meet you guys. Thank you for allowing me to come through, man, and hang out with you on this wonderful Tuesday. I definitely appreciate, what I mean? So thank you, and the host as well. You can reach me on YouTube at Twin Empire _. I think I'm like 6 followers away from 600, you know what I mean? Or from 700, I think. One of the two. So like, So,
Let's
make sure,
go.
man, run on over there, man, and smash that like button, man, and add me to the family. I definitely would appreciate it. And the same thing far as in on Twitter, aka the X as well, is Twin Empire X2. You can find me on there too as well. Those are my only two social media sites that I do have, man. But I definitely would appreciate it as I continue to, brick by brick, grow the channel. But most importantly, over the last 6 months, I don't necessarily look at it too much because now I just like, hey man, I just enjoy getting to know other individuals as a man, to have this time where I can not be a dad and things of that nature. I can sit here and relax and talk about something that I've been passionate. I had a passion for since I was young. You know what I mean? I ain't got to worry about all the other stuff that I got to be responsible for on a daily basis. When you have two sets of twins, I ain't got to worry about all that. You know what I mean? I can sit back, relax, and talk about football and just enjoy myself. And to me, this is very therapeutic, man. You got, like I said earlier, like when my mom was going away, like passing away, this was therapy. You know what I mean? Not thinking about those things. I hop on the internet, I get on the YouTube, or I go into Twitter spaces and things of that nature, and I talk about football and things of that. Man, it was such a therapeutic thing. And so we never know how we may help somebody during a time where they may be struggling with something else, man. And so I just appreciate the people who, have good conversations, stay humble. They don't necessarily be out here trying to be super, super negative and things of that nature, but have good banter. You know what I mean? Good back and forth. And I like that, because I'm still a trash talker. I play basketball, I play football, I play racquetball, I shoot pool, and each and every last one of them in video games, I'm gonna run my mouth because I'm from the South, and we gonna talk a whole lot of what, you know what I'm saying? But we do it all respectfully and in good taste. You know what I mean?
Yeah, nothing. Like I said, there's nothing bad about competition, in particular with family, friends, loved ones. You talk your trash, you back it up. That's the most important thing. Like what Debo did going into the Eagles, he was talking, but the boy backed it up. And there's nothing more than respect when you can talk your thing and then backing it up. I back in the day, I used to do a lot of trash talking and cursing and everything, but yeah, I'm a God fearing man, and since I gave my life to the Lord years back, for those that don't know, and I'm not going to talk a lot about this, but people know I suffered an injury in '97 that left me paralyzed from my waist down. I died on the operating table. They pronounced me dead. Uh, Time of death, wrote everything 6 minutes, 4.5, 5 to 6 minutes. I don't remember what it was. I decided to come back to life. And after I was pronounced dead, and then I found out that I came back to life, but I was going to be permanently in a wheelchair for the rest of my life because of the severity of my injury. And after 10 years of not walking, doing nothing, no rehab, no exercise, nothing, they say when you don't walk for 6 months, you got to go through. You got to learn how to walk again. Not only that, but I gained like 250 pounds while I was in that chair. I got really big. I was always soaking wet. I used to be 180, 190
Yeah.
through high school. So I gained all that weight. And one day I was watching TV and I heard a voice, clear as day, that's we're talking. He says, get up and walk. And I'm like, yeah, right. Get up and walk. 10 years being in the wheelchair, can't move, can't do nothing. Yeah, right. And I'm like, I ignored it. I heard it 3 times. On the third time, I decided, you know what? Fine. If I can't shut this voice, and wasn't doing drugs, okay, at the time.
Yeah.
I gotta be sure I'm clear on that. I wasn't high.
Uh-huh.
And I got, I don't know if you ever had an argument with yourself, but you kind of get aggressive. I'm like, you know what? You would just shut up. I'm going to show you that I can walk. I'm going to fall on my face. And I'm talking. My wife's like, what are you doing? What are you saying in there? She was washing the dishes. And I got up
Yeah.
and I walked to the kitchen.
Oh
And
God.
she seen me. She almost passed out. And I've been walking since. I've been
Oh
walking for
God.
years. And my doctor, and get this real quick.
Uh-huh.
When I say it to you guys, or I say it to people that don't actually see the evidence, some people may believe me, some people don't. That's fine. I respect it. But my spine is disconnected right now. This much. It's not, there's nothing in between. Nothing. Therefore, the signals from my brain isn't going to my body, but I'm able to move things and walk. Now, sometimes my body remembers that, and I'll be walking,
Mhm.
talking right into the floor, and
Yeah.
I'll get back up, but it doesn't happen very often.
Uh-huh.
Uh, but when I go take an what do they call those?
MRI.
MRIs. Thank you. And
Uh-huh.
I tell, and the person that's doing it doesn't know me, and I tell them the story, and they're like, they're trying to sit there and tell me like, okay, like this guy's, like he's crazy, right? And
Yeah.
then they look at the screen, and when they're done with me, you know what they're looking for? They're looking for a wheelchair to sit me in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you walked me in, and then when I get up, they are pale, bro. They are
Oh
pale, and
gosh.
I tell them, all right, now it's not me saying it, it's you seeing it. There's your
Uh-huh.
science. Explain it. They don't know.
Wow.
They don't know how to explain it. So I'm a God fearing man. I just want to throw it in there. But I've been walking since. Do I still have pain? Yes, whatever. But ever since that, I've always been a positive individual. I choose to be positive. I choose to see the glass half full instead of half
Mhm.
empty. In anything in life, is it fair? No. Is life fair? No. Things happen, but it's how you receive it and deal with it that allows you to cope with it better. Because regardless of how you deal with it, it's going to
Mhm.
happen. Life is going to throw you a monkey wrench. It's up to you how you deal with it. But I just wanted to bring that out because
Hey
we were talking
man.
about
Here.
being positive.
Hey, we had to look. I don't care we would have named not one thing about the 49ers. Just that last 5 minutes of your testimony alone was worth me getting on here on this Tuesday,
I
man,
appreciate
because
that, brother.
that right there is that supersedes so much in life. You know what I mean? It says in the good book, it says we are overcome by the blood of the lamb and the word of our
Yes,
testimony. You know what I mean? And so the only how you can have a testimony is you got to go through a test. And man, for you to go through that test and it was a long one that you endured, man, and to come out on the other end the way that you are right now is a blessing and also hope. You know what I mean? For those who may be suffering or going through anything in life, that though it may go on for a time period, there still can be something beautiful on the other end of it. So, man, look, first and foremost, man, I know this is your chat, but good Lord, y'all better put some flames in that god doggone chat, man. Cause when you hear something like that, if that don't put a smile on your face and it's 2024, only the second day of it, man, and you need something to kind of push you through this year to give you energy, to give you hope, to rebound or revitalize you, man. If that don't do something for you in your spirit or something for you in your inner man, I'm gonna have to touch you, see if you got a pulse, because that alone right there, man, deserves a hand clap, a applause, and so on and so forth, man, because that's what we need, you know, in this time that we're living in. Somebody to see and tell you, not only have I gone through something, I'm on the other end of it, and I could tell you through experience, man, how I was able to keep my mind focused and stay ahead, man. And so, man, that's a beautiful testimony, man. And I just want to say I salute you, man, and continue, man, to tell that story, because that's something that you can never, like, that one story can transform somebody's life, man. And so I just say, man, hey, I appreciate you for sharing that with me on this wonderful Tuesday. I would never forget that, man. And so thank you for that right there. And I mean that
I
sincerely,
appreciate
you
that.
know.
Yeah, I
Yes,
still
sir.
get like a little when people give me like what you're doing right now. I'm not used to that. So when people give me way too much credit, it's still hard for me to receive it. But I hear where you're
Mhm.
coming from, and you're right. Listen, life is already like people ask me when the Niners lost to the Ravens, why aren't you more upset? Why aren't you? I said, listen, I am upset. I am bothered, but I'm not gonna let this dictate how my day goes. I got grandkids. I have kids that are looking up to me. I have to be an example at all times, and I don't have the luxury to allow myself to be, And this is no disrespect for anyone else, but I have to make sure that as a father, I'm in that example as a husband to my wife, that I can't allow a game to dictate how I feel, how I respond, or do something dumb. It's just a game. Now I'm emotionally involved. I love it. We talk about it, and I want the Niners to win. But I also like to look at the film against the Ravens, see, okay, this is why we had a lot of mistakes. This is why
Mhm.
Brock Purdy was throwing those balls. This is what we can correct. And when you look at the all 22 and you look at stuff like that, then you can see how you can correct these mistakes. So when you play that team again, you're not going to be going in there like, we got beat up 33-19. And listen, the Niners are not going to turn the ball over 5 times again. I can
Mhm.
guarantee it. They're
Yeah,
not going to
yeah,
turn it
yeah.
over 5 times. They may turn it over once, but they ain't turning it over 5 times. I can
Woo.
guarantee that. The Ravens, credit to them, they did what they had to do. They came into Santa Clara, they beat us down, take nothing away from them. But for the team, I tell this to people, they won by 14 points, and that's good enough to win. But we turned the ball over 5 times, and they only won by 14 points. I ask this question to a lot of people: if the Ravens would have turned the ball over 5 times, do you think the Niners would have won by 14 or more?
Yeah.
See, that just shows you who the better team is. And plus, Brock Purdy was moving the ball. People are like, Brock Purdy, I don't know about you, Twin. That word faithful is almost embarrassing to say. It should be faithless. It should be a lot of Niner fans that a game doesn't go well and right away get rid of Purdy. I knew Purdy sucked, and I know Purdy's. No, he didn't. He had a bad night. People tend to forget because we won the game. The catch, and I was there watching that game when that happened to Dwight Clark. Joe Montana threw 3 interceptions in that game, but it's forgotten because we won it. Great quarterbacks throw interceptions. Dan Marino used to do it a lot in win games. Good quarterbacks is going to have a bad day. Brock Purdy had a bad day, but if you've seen what he's done and how he elevated this offense and how Kyle changed his coaching and his positivity of coaching with Brock than it was with Jimmy. Kyle knew he was limited with Jimmy. He can do some good things, but he couldn't open up the whole playbook, if you will. He can do that with Brock. Brock, that throw to Ayuk, and I know I'm rambling a little bit, and I apologize, but that touchdown when he escaped the pressure, he could have got sacked. Jimmy would have got sacked or thrown into a lineman. He was able to get out, maneuver with his legs, extend the play, direct Ayuk where to go. This kid is first year as a starter, second year as a player on this team, already doing pro things, being that leader, directing his receiver where to go. Ayuk sees him, 10th touchdown, the last touchdown of that game. This kid, what he's showing is poise, calmness, cool. They used to call Joe Montana Mr. Cool, right? Because he was a surgeon. Now, Montana had that 2-minute drill that a lot of quarterbacks don't have. As long as there's 2 minutes on the clock, we're winning this game. We've seen it in the Super Bowl against Cincinnati, right? We went out the lane to the field. Instead of throwing it to Rice, we threw to John Taylor. For those that know me, this is a blessing. I don't say this to brag, but I got the chance to go to see all 5 Super Bowls in person and watch them win in the stadiums they played. And that's something that I always hold dear to me. So when John Candy was in that stadium, I was a couple rows away because he actually came down from the box into to where I like to call the regular people were. And I got to see him now. I was a little bit much younger, but I say all this to say that you got to remain faithful. The word faithful is things are not always going to go the way you want them to go. Yes, I wanted to beat the Ravens. Yes, I wanted to hear all these so-called experts talk about how the Niners are the best team. They're going to win the Super Bowl because they beat the Ravens. You know, I wanted all that glamour. It didn't happen. But then I saw, okay, it didn't happen. How bad was this game truly was? I looked at the film. I'm like, wow, okay. We eliminate this. We eliminate this mistake. We fix this. You know, we can play with these boys. I'm not afraid to see them in the Super Bowl if we have to. It's a different story if we got beat down. We played very well. Our quarterback threw for 400 yards. We ran for 100. Both receivers ran for 100 yards receiving, and we got our butts kicked. Then I'm concerned about a team. Right?
Hey, I'll say this, though. One thing that I loved about that game, and I've been a big guy who always tried to talk about, because I know everybody love offense. I love defense. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm a defensive guy.
Same here. Same here, bro.
For this team to have 3 turnovers in that first half and to only be down by, I think, 3 points going into halftime, I thought Steve Wilkes and company did not get enough props because what they did. If you give, and this is where I love people who love just football in general, you know about what does it mean to flip the field? What does it mean to give the opposing team short field position?
Come on,
That
brother.
team had short field position on multiple occasions, only having to go 50 yards to go and either score a touchdown or only move the ball 30 yards. Well, with their kicker, only move the ball like 25 yards to get a field goal. You see what I'm saying? And to be able to manage or limit them to only 15 points at halftime, being in these terrible situations, I was like, can we show Steve Wilkes and the defense some love, man? Because that's hard to do
Yes, sir.
against a high octane offense or a high octane explosive player like Lamar Jackson. You know what I'm saying? So those are the small things that I look at was like, man, okay, that's hope. And for people who do not understand this, our defense right now as we speak is number one in interceptions. Do we not forget a couple of years ago that we were upset that Jimmy Ward and my guy with the funny name that I can't think of right now,
Tart.
Jaquaski Tart
Yep.
and company, we never got interceptions. We lead the league right now in interceptions, and everybody was wondering what would the guy by the name of Steve Wilkes do coming out of the Carolina Panthers. Well, know what he did? We went from a team to never catch interceptions on a consistent basis to now being one of the number one teams when it comes to catching interceptions. And so it's little things like that that I look and pay attention to and say, oh man, okay, that's what's up. There's certain areas that we are growing in. And even with not Christian McCaffrey, but with Brock Purdy, knowing that he was able to get the ball up and down the field easy. I think it's something that Kyle has to evaluate at times where it's okay to enjoy the ability to move it up and down the field and also remind yourself that you got a guy by the name of CMC, Elijah Mitchell, and Jordan Mason who can punch that thing inside of the five. You know what I mean? And so I've always loved the ability that we can go up and down the field, but in our heart of hearts, I know that physical football begins in the trenches. No matter it was in the 50s, the 40s, the 70s, and the 80s, the trenches is where football really began. And so to be able to establish dominance in the trenches, you usually do it with what? Hard-nosed, physical running football. It doesn't mean you have to stop passing the ball, but it does mean that when you run the ball, it's a mentality to say that we're not a finesse team. We're going to be a physical team that can pass the ball as if we were a what? A finesse team. And so I love the combination of them both. And the thing about Cool Joe Montana is this is the only thing like I said, and this is not a hate of Brock Purdy at all. It's just that when you know that once upon a time we might have to come back, I just hasn't seen it yet. It doesn't mean it can't happen, but that's the
Correct.
only thing that needs to be checked off the box. And that doesn't make me a hater. It just means that I'm a football fan.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I had to see Tom Brady come back in 2 minutes and I get peed off. I had to see Aaron Rodgers come back in 2 minutes before we start beating the heck out of him. But before then, when Aaron Rodgers had 2 minutes on the goddamn clock, you just did like this. Oh, God, you left him too much time. You know what I mean? The Drew
Yeah.
Brees of the world, the Troy Aikmans of the world, like these guys who were able to have this comeback ability about them. It's not that that has to be your calling card, but when you're playing against good teams, that's something that might have to happen. And is it in your toolbox? Because at the end of the day, you never know you need a tool until you need a tool. You know what
Yeah.
I'm
Come
saying?
on now.
And so, so like that's the certain things I like to talk about, man. And I look at the minutia of it all because I know at the end of the day, as you play against these better teams, you may see Ravens, the Cleveland Browns, um, even the Cowboys, for instance, we have to see these teams again. You need to be prepared about the small things that could come up in the game because even last year we beat the Cowboys in the playoffs, and I hate the Cowboys. But to be honest with you, if Dak Prescott ain't throw the two red zone interceptions, that game
Come
could have
on
been the
now.
whole total game. You know what I'm saying? If we didn't injure Tony Pollard, who was actually a better running back last year than this year, that could have been a different game. But we don't like to talk about that stuff. But because we
Yep.
won
Preach
the
it,
game,
brother.
but at the end of the day, these things are variables that we can look back on and say, hey, man, I wish that we would have fixed this and done that. You know what I mean? And so I love it when we look at the grand scheme of things and try to remember how we got to put these things in place to make sure that we want to win that sixth Lombardi at the end of the year. And so I may say something that you might not like, but I know Kyle Shanahan is looking at it. I know Steve Wilkes is looking at it. I know when Brock Purdy looks at that film, he sees it. You know what I mean? And yeah, man. So those are some of the things that I love to talk about, man, because what my man say, don't give Pat Mahomes too much time on the clock. As Pat Mahomes, you know what I mean? Because we seen Pat do some stuff. All you can do this right here, just scratch your head, like, oh my God,
Yep.
you know what I mean? And so like, and those are the guys that we possibly have to play. And so you got to respect those guys' abilities to go with 5 minutes left on the clock. And we seen Pat Mahomes break our heart already. But hopefully this year he ain't gonna be able to do it.
What's up, Ronnie? Boy, you are spinning. I love it, bro. I love it. You're bringing that fire. Ooh, wee, that's awesome. Yeah, bro, I'm with you. Listen, being a fan is giving praise when praise is due and criticizing where criticism is due. I don't sit there and just give praise to my players. I criticize them based on their work they show me on the field. Okay, I can tear down a player in a sense of what they did in that game, not as an individual, but as their performance. And I'm not here to try to win clicks or win. People follow me. Great. I love to do this. It's therapy for me to come out here as well, enjoy my time with all of you. But it's all about seeing the film and be able to be honest of what you see. There's like my boy Twin said, Brock Purdy has done a lot of great things, but there's still that feeling. If we fall behind to the Ravens in the Super Bowl or in someone in the championship game by 14 points, can Brock Purdy bring us back? And that's an honest question that a lot of us don't want to deal with, because a lot of us say, well, the Niners are so good, they won't put this up in that spot. Well, they did against the Ravens. They've done it with other teams. The best one that I could have said that Brock Purdy would have brought us back, no offense to our rookie kicker, but he screwed it up with Cleveland, because people don't forget, Cleveland was a bad game, but that was not a bad game. That was Brock Purdy's one of his worst games there, and he was able to get us into field goal range to win that game. That would have been a game that he brought us back from, but it is what it is. But I do want to be confident in my quarterback. I want my quarterback to show me as a fan, to show us that if we're in that predicament in a high-stake game, can we pull it off? Other than, oh my God, we're down 14 points in the Super Bowl. Is this game, or do we have a chance? And that's an honest question to ask about your quarterback. Joe Montana proved it over and over again. Steve Young did it. Even Jeff Garcia did it. I want to see it from, did it too. One of my guys that I like, Kaepernick, the way he ran the ball, he did it against Atlanta. They fell down 17 points.
That's a lot, man.
Yeah. People don't think, well, just 17. And that magnitude of a game, championship game, that is a lot in their home turf. Fans can just go. People don't realize you can go up by 10 points, and that changes the whole game plan of an offensive coordinator on how he calls plays.
How he's calling plays.
By 10 points only.
Yeah. Because now, watch this.
Go ahead. Break it down, baby.
Like, a lot of people don't like, because now we are built off of what? Play action.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? But if you know that now you're not passing the ball, I could set up my defense and not even worry about the motions and the fakes and the handoff or the RPO fakes exchange at the mesh point. Guess what? They ain't caring about that no more. They're not worrying about that. They're only playing against the pass because they know one thing. Well, they know two things. Time is not on your side, and you need to score quickly. You see what I'm saying? So now as a defensive coordinator, you begin to adjust what it is that you're going to do and show your quarterback. And my thing is, when you're not in these situations, often when you get in it, people are people. What is your heartbeat? What is Kyle's ability to coach and call plays from that type of position? Because at the end of the day, those things have to be analyzed. You know what I mean? Because we gotta see, how does Kyle feel? Is he as confident as he is up by 15 as he is down by 15? You know what I mean? And I tell people who may have an issue when I say certain things like that, I'm like, I'm gonna be honest. We're the gold standard. Before you was the gold standard, you have to have first a person to go and win a game. Started with Joe Montana in 81, right?
Yep.
And so when you had a first, he created that. You wouldn't be a fan. You wouldn't have your paraphernalia. You wouldn't be rooting for the 49ers. You wouldn't bloviate about what it is that we done having 5 rings if Joe didn't come back. If Joe didn't win 2 Super Bowl rings before Jerry Rice got there. If Joe wasn't successful, not only with Walsh, but also with Seafair as well. Like, you wouldn't be the 49er fan that you are today if we didn't see somebody go out there and do something that the NFL didn't see at the time. So we got to be honest. Hey, we represent the Niners. Remember the origins of the Niners. You see what I'm saying? And so when you have that, people, he was the GOAT before Tom Brady, as people like to say. And this is why he was considered the what? The GOAT. Because what we see Tom Brady do in the last 2 minutes, he learned in Candlestick, probably sitting beside you, looking at who? Joe Montana. You see what I'm
That was
saying?
his idol.
So
Yeah.
let's not, yeah, so let's not sit here and say somebody's a hater. You're not a fan of the 49ers if you think this or believe. Like, nah, bro. We lived and saw what Joe did, and he was the one who created this thing. And then later on, Steve Young took care of it in 94 to continue on that type of situation. You know what I mean? Because Steve Young had a monkey on his back, and he was a multiple MVP award winner before he even won the Super Bowl. So people were still critiquing him. We
Yep.
picked the wrong quarterback. He wasn't successful in playoffs. He caught that heat. But we tend to just forget about that. You know what I mean? But he was getting critiqued up and down all across the Bay Area. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And so, like, we got to have a real conversation about the Niners, and we're going to talk about the what? The 49ers. You see what I'm saying? So, like, that's where I come from, man, in that type of perspective. And I love it because it's like, dude, it's a reason why I'm a 49er fan with pride, because a lot of teams can't brag the way we can brag. You know what I'm saying? A lot of teams don't have the cliche and the
Nope.
beautiful colors like we have. You know what I mean?
First
So,
time to hit 5 Super Bowl champions. People Dallas don't get confused sometimes. Some fans like to say that Dallas got 5 first. No, they didn't.
undefeated in the Super Bowl until 2013. You know what I'm saying? We had
That
never lost. Like that was the Jordan thing. Like, hey, we like Jordan in the playoffs. If we make it to the championship game, guess what? It's go ahead, give us the ring. You know, man, that was a bravado. Like, come on, let's keep it real. People don't want to be fake. Like, we act like we like that was a bragging thing. Like, hey, when we get the Super Bowl, we know we gonna win. You know?
yeah. It's a sense of pride of knowing that your players can be clutch players when needed because they've proven commodity. They've shown that they can. The Ronnie Lotts of the world, the John Taylors, the Jerry Rice, the Brent Jones, the guy McIntyre on the line, the Harris Barton, all those guys, the Steve Wallaces, all these guys doing the thing on offense, holding it down for Joe Montana, blocking and
Just
protecting.
follow.
Well, I mean, you see all these guys that take pride when they put on the red and gold. There's a standard for the San Francisco 49ers that a lot of teams, you hear it from people, you hear it from McCaffrey, you hear it from different players that come in free agent. They're like, I didn't realize the standard they have here, the mentality. It's that they can't believe it for where they, and this is not a knock on other owners and the way they run things, but players come here thinking it's going to be kind of similar where they came from, and they realize, whoa. And there's a few teams, and the Cowboys is one of them. I know you don't like the Cowboys, but they are one of them. The Patriots are one of them. You got these teams. The Packers. Yeah.
Steelers. I hate the Steelers now because they got 6 before. I was mad at that. They got 6 before we did, and I thought we was be the first one to 6 too. So I still got hate in my blood for them doggone Steelers too, man.
Yeah. Hey, their coach. I keep forgetting his name. Please help me out.
Mike Tomlin.
Dude, is it 17?
17 years in a row, man.
Without a losing record. People don't realize how crazy that is.
Unbelievable, man.
Without 17 years, without a losing record. My goodness. With different quarterbacks, this dude is a coach. They can coach,
Mason
man.
Rudolph and Kenny Pickett is his quarterback this year, and he still has he got him over 500 with those guys and wide receivers that don't want to block, and a first round running back who can't average no more than 3.8 yards per carry. Like, bro, and he still got them boys. Like, do we love football or do we just watch it? That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, for you not to acknowledge a coach like that, or just because he's not a Niner coach. It's ludicrous. I mean, this guy's doing amazing things. This is the fun part of football, to acknowledge what other coaches are doing. Now, what I wish he would have been on my team, absolutely. But I don't know about you, Twin, but I'm in a good spot with my coach. So I can enjoy, when you have a nice ride and you have a nice car, it's okay to enjoy other cars because you can always say, yeah, but I got one too, right? We got that in Kyle. But it's okay to look at the Thompsons. It's okay to look at all these other coaches that are the McVays of the world that are doing their thing. They're coaching. There's some coaches that get carried by players, and there's some coaches that can coach. And Thomas is one of them. I mean, he has nobody, and he hasn't had a losing season. I mean, that right there, kudos to the Steelers. And that's the Steeler fans can take pride in that.
For sure.
Maybe they don't win the Super Bowl. Maybe they're not representing the Super Bowl this year. But they say, name me a coach that has that hasn't had a losing season in 17 years. Not many can say that.
Look, we won 2 games. Like we done won like 5 games. Like, bro, we done been through like, oh my God, please help us. You know what I'm saying? Like we had some dog years, you know what I mean? But at the same, like you said, to see a coach even in his dog years to still be impressive in what it is that he does as a coach, man, and how he has kept that organization above water, throughout everything that's going on. You know what I mean? Hey, kudos to him. My man says, Christian says, hey, Twin, how impressive is it that the Cleveland has played 4 different QBs and is going to make the playoffs? Now, watch this. I hear people, I'll be honest with you, I see 49ers fans on Twitter talking about there's no way Kyle should be the coach of the year and Steve Stefanski shouldn't be. And just last year, I heard the same people say Kyle should be the coach of the year because he had Trey, Jimmy Garoppolo, and then a rookie in Brock Purdy, and he was able to make the playoffs and all the way to the NFC Championship game. So I'm like, now all of a sudden y'all turning your ear as if this man had 4 guys.
Come on
and
now.
lost his number 1 wide receiver to a god doggone season-ending injury. And them guys are right there in the thick of it and playing dominant football. Hey, I love the Niners, but I know football when I see good football, and they beat us too as well. Man, salute to that man to get that man coach of the year, God dog it, because he out here doing his thing. Let's just be honest, because if we were to lose our quarterback and our number 1 running back, God dog it, we all be over here. Oh, God.
He's winning with Joe Flacco off the couch, bro. Come on.
38 years young, you know what I mean? And he got Kareem Hunt, like, come on, like, dude, give that man some credit. He coaches his butt off. And Jim Schwartz, he's a defensive guru over there.
That defense.
He plays man ball. He say man up, put your big boy pants on, wear your jock strap, put 2 straps on your god doggone helmet, put all your pads on, and we finna go out there and hit somebody in the mouth, and we finna play old school football. And that's what we should learn as a 49er fan. We had one team to play primarily man, and the Ravens played 71% zone. So we saw 2 different styles of football that beat us. Let's, if y'all watching tape and watching film, just letting you know, man to man, one team played majority zone, one team played majority man, and we lost against both teams. So that gives us an opportunity to look at the film, say we got to be diverse in how we attack 2 different types of schemes, because we could see what both types of schemes. So, like, man, I'm telling y'all, man, look, it's that time of year where we gotta get on our grind, gotta dot our I's and cross our T's, man, because we want to win the Super Bowl, and the possibility of playing against one of those teams is high. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man.
Yeah, bro. We're definitely gonna, man, you are spinning. We're having a great time. But I take knowledge that you are 2 hours ahead of me. It is the weekday. We got to definitely come back and make a part 2 with our guests. Sure. We'll work it out with my boy Twin. Everyone, please give my brother a follow. This guy can spit some. He knows his football. You can learn from him, watch him, and also give it some. Even if you go and give his brother some hack as being a Cowboy fan, show him some love as well. Let him know that not all Niner fans are haters, man. Real quick, before we get off the air, I just wanted to answer. Tommy had asked a question, and I wanted to answer it before we go. It says, Beto, are you worried about the Lambs? Absolutely not. And I say that really quickly is because this game means absolutely nothing to neither team. Neither team is going to put or display because of what out there because they know they're going to play each other or have a possibility of playing each other in the playoffs. They're going to kind of vanilla. This is going to be a vanilla preseason game from both parties, in my opinion. So whether we win or lose, it doesn't matter. We want to win as fan base because we want to sweep the West twice in 2 years. But it absolutely means the prize goal is the Super Bowl. If we lose 48-0 against the Rams, it would not be nice to do that. But if we win the Super Bowl, that's all that matters. Now, I say that crazy, ludicrous, because that's not going to happen. But they might not even play Stafford, and that'll be wise in their part. In Cooper Kupp, they're up there in age. Maybe let the young kid, receiver and running back, do their thing for a bit. But everyone, you guys have been amazing. All your questions, your participations in the chat. I like to say you guys are the true MVP of the live. My brother Twin, it was an honor and pleasure talking with you. We've been repping this for an hour and a half. Usually I do this for an hour out of respect to my guest. My apologies going a little bit overboard, but you were just on fire, man. So I kind of had to run with that. But we definitely got to bring him back for another show and finish this conversation off. Thank you guys for joining us. Make sure to follow him. Make sure to go to his channel, his Twitter account, and support him. And we'll see you on the next Niner Sickness podcast.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you all, man. Have a wonderful night as well. Thank you.
Give him your information one more time before we go.
Oh, okay. Again, man. Twin Empire. So this is a compound word. Twin Empire _ man. You can find me on YouTube, and then the same as well on the X app, or we all know formerly known as Twitter, man. Make sure you give me a follow, man, and a like. And I definitely appreciate each and every last one of you guys, man. And thank you for spending your time with us this evening, sitting back, talking about football and the wonderful 49ers, which is the greatest franchise in the National Football League, just so y'all can know. If you didn't know, now you know we the greatest. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Montoya, we're going to have to answer that question. Unless you want to answer real quick before we go.
Yeah, real. Yes, pick them up.
It wouldn't hurt.
Well, listen here. It wouldn't hurt nobody, man. This is why I tell somebody to pick him up. Okay, guys, I know you're looking at the man as far as his talent, what it is that he can do, but I'll tell you this. He's a Super Bowl champion for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. One thing that you cannot discredit as a fan, you don't understand that locker room. You need somebody who has been there and done that and have the capabilities to teach some of the young players certain things that another player can't, because he has experience, he has won. And so that type of thing is priceless when it comes to playing against the big game in preparation, because he has to go over film, and he can help somebody like Kinlaw with leverage and understanding certain keys that he need to make sure he's aware of with these other teams in the playoffs. So you need the experience. Pay for the brain. That's all I got to say.
Absolutely. And Tommy said his question was referencing the playoffs, not this week 18. Am I worried? No. Concerned? Yes. They're playing. They're a hot team right now. They're playing good football. McVay's doing great things, but I still think that Kyle Shanahan lives in McVay's head rent free. It's hard sometimes to beat, it's hard to beat your sensei or your teacher. Sometimes the student can beat the teacher, which he has that one time. But when you lose to your teacher, 8 times in a row in the regular season or more times than that, I'm not afraid. I think Kyle knows how to deal with McVay and knows his tendencies. But can it happen? Absolutely. So there is a concern, but not worried if those can be separate. But with that said, Tommy, thank you everyone for joining in. We'll see you in the next live. Peace. Have a wonderful night, and God bless, and be safe out there. Go Niners. Let's go.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,